Harmontown, starting all the time. Harmontown is a podcast you can listen to no matter who you are. Harmontown, the podcast, starting now is the time. Harmontown is starting now. It's starting now. Harmontown.
Damn. Nailed it.
Hello, everybody. Welcome to Harmontown from the cozy confines of the Starburns box booth. I'm sitting here with Steve Levy, Spencer Crittenden, your game master. I'm Jeff Davis, your comptroller. Let's give it up for the mayor of Harmontown, Mr. Dan Harmon.
All right. Thanks for joining us. All right. Top item, I think, for those of our, for anybody who's been like an avid listener as of the last month or so. A couple of weeks ago, I don't remember how long ago, we were talking about an encounter you had with Ron Jeremy.
Yes.
And I forgot to address this last week. Last week we had a gay old time, and they were like, "There's whatever. I'm not going to waste time talking about the stuff I didn't get a chance to bring up." But to recap the story is that Jeff was at a party, and Ron Jeremy walked by him and had a banana peel on his shoulder.
Yes.
And Jeff said, "You got a banana peel on your shoulder," and Ron Jeremy was like, "I know," and walked out. So we spent like 20 minutes speculating.
Yes.
Like, what's the explanation for that? Our first guess, collectively, I think, like, that we were all very satisfied with was, he walks around with a banana peel on his shoulder because there's some gross kind of like banana innuendo that he does for the ladies, and Jeff's not like a pretty lady, so like he wasn't worth it, so he walked out. The truth becomes fascinating. Somebody on Reddit or somebody sent
I think he was doing an AMA or something.
Somebody went to you sent me a thing that somebody went to Ron Jeremy's Reddit page.
This is the beauty of the internet. And let's put a pin in, a very temporary pin, because I do want to talk about this too. It's like, how do we feel about what this guy did? Because it's sort of like, that's the internet for you. Like, somebody just bluntly messaged Ron Jeremy and said, "Jeff Davis on Harmontown said you had an encounter with him and that you seemed mad at him when asking about it." It's like no story is it makes you cringe in the retelling. Well, it's like a Larry King reading Eminem lyrics. It's like I didn't mean it that way. But this kid says to Ron Jeremy, "This happened. What do you have to say?" Ron Jeremy responds,
"It makes me more appealing."
Right.
So our theory was correct, except for one fascinating detail, which is that it wasn't pornographic.
It doesn't have to be, though. If you're Ron Jeremy, everything you do is pornographic.
Exactly. So he had this cutesy, like Richard Scarry, right. Mr. Rogers kind of connect. So we were essentially right.
Yeah. Absolutely.
But
right.
Is his built-in joke or admission in that, like, I'm not an appealing person. Like, I am not an attractive gentleman. And so I'm going to get out in front of that.
I never even thought about it that way.
I called myself ugly before you did. I'm more appealing than you now because I have trash on my shoulder.
So I will say, remember when we talked about that, how I took a big long chunk aside because I was like, I love my porn. I love my monsters. I love my underground people. I hate our society's like hypocritical treatment of what we're now calling sex workers. But and I was like, it's like I think we have a very unhealthy relationship with that stuff. And like every time I hear that Ron Jeremy was at a party and like someone will make some joke that's like, well, you're talking about this person like a second class citizen and stuff. It was all wasted effort because he. Now I can judge him. He put a banana peel on his shoulder, and the answer was something cute. He could have just used it on you. He could have just said, "It makes me more appealing to you," but he didn't. And now I'm a little mad at him.
Wait, Church, you had a banana before. Do we ever talk about this?
Yeah. There was bananas involved, but we took them off the table.
I don't know. It's like the person that does that, that goes on Reddit and says, "Hey," he or she did not say, "Hey, Jeff Davis from Harmontown." Just said Jeff Davis like that matters to Ron Jeremy. So Jeff Davis said that you walked by with a banana peel and you were all pissed off about it. I don't get the instinct of that person. Is that someone trying to prove that I made up a story? I want to talk about that too. Because do we love that person or hate that person? I don't know. I mean, because there was another time. And
because now someone also, by the way, not to interject, is going to now we're talking about it, and it's interesting that we're talking about it now 2 more people will message him and go, "You have a beef on this thing," and stuff like that.
It's a stupid instinct by stupid people like that.
However, it got us an answer.
But then again, he doesn't know what the fuck they're talking about. Who's Jeff Davis? He probably wears a banana peel around all the goddamn time.
But you didn't know why he had a banana peel on his shoulder. He was also engaged in fucking cryptography.
Yeah, remember a long, long time ago,
it took a troll to get to hack and leak the Jeremy leaks.
In the I think the first time I ever even heard of Reddit, I told a story about the neurologist that I worked with who did this crazy thing, and somebody went online, asked her, "Did this happen? Jeff Davis said that you did this thing," and she wrote back, "I don't know what you're talking about." Now, either she doesn't remember that she doesn't remember that moment in the way that I and other people in that room remembered that moment.
Wait, can you rewind that a little bit? Because I don't.
I did a pilot with a woman who is a neurologist from Boston General.
Oh,
and we were doing a pilot, and it's based on her. And there was an actor who was trying to.
Okay, you had a story, and somebody during her AMA. Okay,
emailed her, tracked her down. This is pre AMAs. Like, at least as far as this doctor is concerned, someone just tracked her down and said, "Hey, this guy, Jeff Davis, a show with you, said this thing happened." It's bullshit, right? And she's like, "I don't know what you're talking about." I think he's probably combining this story and that story. The thing is, I remember what happened. And also, there's 5 or 6 people I could track down that would absolutely back that up. But she's not going to go online and say, "Oh, yeah, I'm a crazy person." Like the story is about her being a crazy genius. Mm-hmm. Either she didn't remember it because she's got bigger fish to fry because she's a neurologist and heals people for a living, or she doesn't want to go out on record saying, "Oh yeah, I see dead people. I have crazy superpowers."
Right.
Because she already got decommissioned once and had to get locked up for it. So the fact that somebody goes out there and tries to debunk this story.
Well, okay, but that's so. Like this person that approached Ron Jeremy digitally,
right.
It boils down to like, oh, we wish that they had taken the time to like be more nuanced in their language. But really what they were doing was not debunking. I don't think that they were.
I think for that
you're
person...
using an example. You're gun shy. I get it because like you're saying somebody like fucking actually you told an interesting story and somebody was like, "Yeah, but did that ever happen?" And like ask somebody else.
For instance, like one of the first times I went on Reddit was I told the story about my understudy and the King and I getting slapped the shit out of by Yul Brynner.
Right.
Now that's a fucking actual story, but I went on Reddit like an idiot, which you really must not do because it's a den of sadness. And I went on there and people were like, "That didn't fucking happen. Jeff's so full of shit." I'm like, dude, I can't even tell my good stories on the air because they're too scandalous. Like, I was there. It's a real story, but people think I'm full of shit. Now, have I exaggerated in the past or maybe fucked up a detail or two? Of course. But the thing is, I don't. When I saw the Ron Jeremy thing, I was like, is that somebody trying to zing me?
I would categorize that person as what they're actually. I think they believed the story.
And they're fans of us and Ron Jeremy, and
they're fans of us and maybe not so much Ron Jeremy. And that's the minor problem I have with that person. It's just that it was just like well, and look, I'm that person, like they're not to me they're not a villain because but it's
I didn't see villainy in that person doing. I think they were saying like, oh, like I'm on the internet, I get to ask Ron Jeremy about Harmontown,
and we would prefer to have so much control over the universe that the way Ron Jeremy hears about that interaction wouldn't come through like a channel that removes all the empathy. If Ron Jeremy walked in here off the street, we would be nice to him, and we would ask him what the hell was going on with the banana peel, and there would be humanity involved.
If he came in here right now, I would ask him about that. And I tend to think that it's not a thing he does a lot. I don't think that's a costume he wears all the time around town. He puts a banana peel on his shoulder. I think he was probably doing some sort of riff. He had a banana peel, put it on his shoulder, did a funny joke to somebody, left it there. But I was a guy, not a girl. I mean, I just think it was a momentary thing. I really don't think Ron Jeremy walks around occasionally or frequently.
I'm squinting at you.
You are.
Subscribers can see, if you choose to pay us $5 a month to watch the podcast, you can see that I'm squinting at you.
Dan, nobody's subscribing anymore. They all stopped listening when we stopped.
Well, I'm trying to change that by squinting at you.
Okay, well.
So I'm trying to add an element to the podcast that requires $5.
Should I just book Ron Jeremy and get to the bottom of this?
Sure. No. For $5 a month, you could see Dan casting me a jaundiced eye.
But only because, in your defense, kind of, I guess.
I think I'm just giving him the big benefit of the doubt.
His response to that kid saying, "What's that story about?" being like one line. It makes me more appealing. It felt a little confident.
Yeah.
But here's the thing: Ron Jeremy and I do not share. We're not cousins on the spectrum. So, I guess. I can't compare his behavior to mine in that situation because I would have been like, my response would have been 8 paragraphs long.
Right.
Had that been I would have gone, okay, here's the thing. There was a banana peel on the table and I started putting it and I started doing this joke and then I was walking around with it and I wanted to go, but I didn't want to take it off and then put it back on. Or I would have all this or I would go you know what? I was horny that night and I was doing this thing and it was getting some action and then I was tired and I don't remember your friend, whoever you're talking about, blah blah blah. It would have been a hyper-verbal response, which, by the way, how does that get me more results than Ron Jeremy's getting?
I guess the only thing
I have nothing to
because all I did was harmlessly ask a Ron Jeremy that was 4 feet away from me who just passed me wearing a spent banana peel over his shoulder. I said, "Pardon me, sir, you have a banana peel on your shoulder." And the only reaction that is confusing is him to go, "Yeah, thanks."
It's funny because it's not funny in the moment. That's why it's funny because you could have just said, "It makes me more appealing." And I think maybe I think that's
because
him.
If I were a cute girl, he might have gone, "Well, does it make me more appealing?" And then what?
Well, also, if you're a guy, as you are,
true,
and you go, "Excuse me, you got a banana peel on your shoulder," and if he stopped and said, "It makes me more appealing," you might have gone, "Gross. Is that how you get laid? You fuck. My dick's bigger than yours. What are you trying to pull?" He could have. It would have been vulnerable.
I would never have gone that far.
I know you wouldn't have. The phantom of his father might have gone that far.
Okay, let's role play.
Who do I get to be?
You're
Jeff.
No wrong answers.
You're on Jeremy, but give me the reply that he did. Respond. No. Give me the it makes me more appealing. Do the fun version of that.
Okay.
Sir, you have a banana peel on your shoulder.
It makes me more appealing.
Oh, you little devil. That would have been my response.
Yeah, thank you. Because a guy outside the bathroom, I said that, and he made fun of me. He said, "You think that's funny? You're a piece of shit." And then he said some horrible shit about a movie I was in 1972. And then he made fun of my body, which is always on display in my work.
I got this half bottle of champagne. You want some? Are you sticking around?
I'd love some. What's your name? I'm Ron Jeremy.
I'm Jeff. It's nice to meet you, man.
Thank you. You know what? I get scared of being vulnerable with people because I'm a public figure, and it's really easy to make fun of me.
But here's the beauty of you wearing a banana peel on your shoulder. For me, if you had just walked by, I wouldn't have said anything. I would have said to my girlfriend, "Oh shit, Ron Jeremy just walked by." But because you had a gimmick, or whether you're doing a bit or a thing or whatever, I got to say something to Ron Jeremy because there was a specific thing happening.
And you're saying it kind of in a literal sense made me more appealing.
It made you more accessible.
Right. It didn't make me more appealing. That's my concern was that I did it for...
Well, can I ask you a question? Because now here's your champagne.
Oh, thank you.
Cheers.
Yeah.
Clink. I say clink because we're drinking out of paper cups, but that's me being less appealing. I don't know. Can I ask you 3 questions about the banana peel?
I trust you. Yeah, yeah.
Okay. What's the origin story of that banana peel being on your right shoulder?
My Uncle Kurt used to do it.
I love Uncle Kurt.
And he was actually, in our family, like the running joke was that he had a really, really small penis. I grew up in a very liberal family. I was a child of the 40s. Back then, there was a counterculture that wasn't as publicized as in the 60s, but I grew up on a ranch,
right,
where surrounded by hippies and things.
Hey, I'll stop you. I've read your biography.
Okay. Oh, okay. All right.
Yeah.
Oh,
I've never heard the Kurt story. I know your whole your childhood.
Well, he's one of the few family members that actually, he passed away before he could approve of the biography. But everyone else I checked it out with.
That's very thoughtful of you. A lot of people don't even consider it.
Uncle Kurt he had the smallest penis, but the thing that always moved me about him was that he everyone liked him more, and I always because
he had a banana peel on his shoulder, or
no, because he did clever things like that. That was something that stuck out in my head when I was 8 years old. The thing that stuck out in general about Uncle Kurt was that he had this very tiny little itty bitty little wiener. And I don't know if it was because of that he was such a socially graceful person, or I don't know how much of it had to do with the fact that, frankly, from the age of 3 forward, my earliest memories as Ron Jeremy are people telling me I had a huge, weirdly huge dick. Well, even before I knew what sex was, people were commenting about my big, giant dick.
Now, is Uncle Kurt wearing the banana peel because of his small dick? Is there a correlation there?
No, I mean, for me, what I'm saying to you is it was a thing that he would do, and when I went to that party that night, there was bananas everywhere.
There were, because I saw people. Yeah, Peaches had a banana, which is already funny.
It was one of a million things that he would do, and I just kind of started doing it, and I actually immediately started getting results, and it was really satisfying to me. And the moment when you interacted with me, I was actually starting to come down from it because I had said just before I ran into you to a younger woman, it makes me more appealing. She's like, that's funny. Like, what? It's people say you're a porn star. She was so young, she didn't know. And I was like, yeah, I'm a porn star, but I'm also a human being. And she was like, yeah, but why? It went south really fast in a way that made me think that if I had been born with a smaller dick, like at that moment, I might have met like the woman of my dreams, because I was overhearing her at the table by the champagne, and I was like, I love this girl. And I was like, I felt like I was locked in a box from birth by my giant cock, and I was just like, and the banana peel couldn't break me out of it.
Right.
And then I walked past you, and you said, and I honestly, I don't remember the encounter, but I'm telling you why that probably happened. I was on my way to my car. I didn't want to pull the banana peel off because it would look like a defeat. But I was just on my way to my car, and I just wanted to go home and like just where I gained strength in isolation.
No, but when I asked you, you said, "Oh, it makes me more appealing." This is not the version where you snapped it. Like, do you sometimes snap at people?
Oh shit! Yeah, I'm sorry, I forgot. Sorry.
Well, now I have.
Sorry.
Wait, so now you're saying that sometimes
I snap at people.
This is something that you do frequently. Right. Okay, now if you're doing it frequently, what's the blue sky version of? Like only women asking you about it? Like what? Like
no. I was caught up in a moment. That's what I'm saying. It's not a thing that I do. It's not my gimmick. It was something that I started doing that I am familiar with, that I got into. Spencer, what's your take on the
Banana Gate?
What?
Yeah, I could have.
What's my take on?
I could have put that in an envelope and held it to my head.
What's your?
What's my take on? I don't think that sentence finished.
Well, what do you think? The backstory of the Ron Jeremy banana peel shoulder thing is that a one-off? Is that a thing he does? And why was he so? I mean, he wasn't pissed off at me. He just.
I think you guys got to the answers already.
Yeah,
I think he's done it a few times. I think he doesn't get anything about it by playing along with a male.
I hope it's not the fact that he's trying to get out in front of you, calling him an ugly because the banana peel makes
I think
him more
that's
appealing.
no. I don't think. I think that's you reading too far into it. I
Yeah.
think that anyone can be more appealing. They don't have to necessarily think they're disgusting to have to say, "Oh, I could be more appealing."
But did he like? Does
He could have had a bad night. I was like, I see stuff retweeted that I've said to some kid that I had an encounter with, and I'm like, well, that's not me. I hope that doesn't represent me. He was having a bad night, but I mean, we can't assume that he has a trunk of banana peels in his car.
Yeah.
Nah, it's like a bar trick.